Hey there, welcome back to Limabean Living. In today's video, I will be walking you through 3 Dollar Tree wooden Easter egg crafts. To make this first craft, I used some scrap paper I had on hand, small wooden eggs I picked up from the Dollar Tree, a few phrases I cut out with my Cricut, although you could always use markers, wooden dowels from the Dollar Tree, some Mod Podge, hot glue, 9 tower game blocks, and some nautical rope. I decided to prepare the small wooden eggs for my first 2 crafts at the same time, since I was going to use the same technique to decorate them. I simply did a coat of Mod Podge on one side of the egg and laid the decorative paper on top. You want to make sure to secure it by pressing from the center of the egg to the edge so that there won't be any unwanted bubbles and the paper lies flat. Once the Mod Podge dries, I used sandpaper to remove the excess paper. This gives it a very clean edge and can even add a distressed look if that's what you're going for. Eventually my sandpaper was getting a little dull, so I switched to a cheap nail file I got in a large pack from Walmart. This worked just fine, so you don't need to go out and get some sandpaper if you don't have any on hand. The next step was to hot glue the wooden dowels in the middle of the 2 eggs. I wanted the eggs to have different heights, but I didn't want to have to cut the dowels. So I simply hot glued them in different locations, about 3 centimeters apart. To do this, I identified the 2 eggs that would be secured together, made a mark where I wanted the end of the dowel to be, and drew a line to the center of the bottom of the eggs. I then hot glued down the line, placed the dowel on the glue, and glued on the other egg. The next step was to hide the gap between the 2 eggs by hot gluing some nautical rope around the perimeter of the eggs. I then transferred the names to the blue-green sides of the eggs, and the words "He is risen" to the red-orange side of the eggs. Next, I hot glued 3 tower game blocks together to form a square, and hot glued the end of the dowel to the square base. Because the tower block pieces I had were stained, I thought I would go ahead and stain the dowels too. I'm a little bummed I didn't think about this before I glued them to the eggs, but I made it work. I finished this craft by using the ties that came with the little eggs to tie some bows around the base of the egg and called it a day. If God blesses us with more children, I'm thinking of replacing our individual names with the Flores family and then putting our names on little Easter eggs to place on some moss at the base of this craft. Moving on to the second craft. To make this garland, you will need some wooden eggs from the Dollar Tree, some scrap paper, Mod Podge, Cricut cut letters or a marker, and some twine. Like I mentioned before, I prepared a lot of my eggs for this craft while I was working on the first craft. But unlike the first craft, these eggs got the decorations on both sides because I wanted to create a double-sided garland. This also meant that I needed to cut out the little holes in the paper so that these eggs could be hung. On one side of the garland, I wanted it to say Happy Spring, and on the other side, Happy Easter. Now, while I could have easily written the letters on the eggs myself, I decided to let my Cricut do the work so that the letters would be somewhat uniform. After the letters were on the correct eggs, it was time to string them up on the garland. To do this, I first attached the little strings that came with the eggs to the twine about 7 inches apart by folding the string in half and pulling the 2 ends of the string over the twine and through its loop. I then attached the eggs by pulling both strings through the hole of the egg. Next, I separated the ends and pulled them behind the twine, and then proceeded to tie a knot and a bow as if I was tying my shoe. By attaching the eggs this way, you prevent the eggs from twirling or flipping sides when the garland is hung, so you don't have to worry about it reading "Hapa Rerine" or something weird like that. Moving on to the last craft. To make this larger Easter egg sign, you will need 1 of the large wooden eggs from the Dollar Tree, some scrap paper, Mod Podge, hot glue, foam mounting dots, nautical rope, ribbon, and some metal signs from the Dollar Tree as well. I began by cutting my scrap paper into little strips. Then I put a layer of Mod Podge on the egg, laid the paper down, and then did a layer of Mod Podge on top of the strip of paper. I continued this process until the entire egg was covered. After the Mod Podge dried, I sanded the edges to remove any extra paper, giving the egg a smooth perimeter. Next, it was time to secure the metal signs using some foam mounting dots I had on hand. These dots allowed for the words to be a little raised from the egg. After the words were secured, I hot glued some nautical rope around the perimeter of the egg, then hot glued some ribbon and some more nautical rope on the face of the egg to create more texture, and finished off the project by using the same ribbon to make a bow where the egg was going to be hung. I hope you enjoyed this video. What I love most about these crafts is the fact that they start off really as a blank slate. The paper I chose was more fun and kid-friendly, but you can easily paint these eggs or use a paper that fits better with your home decor. In the future, when Juan and I don't really have really little children, I will probably alter these decorations to fit our home. But for now, fun and bright will do. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and we'll catch you in the next one. You've made it to the end of the video. If you didn't know already, my name is Emily from Limabean Living. Welcome, we are so happy to have you. We post videos every Monday and Friday on a variety of content: lifestyle, cooking, cleaning, military life, DIYs, encouraging mathematical development in children, and so much more. Thank you so much again for watching, and until next time.